Okay, so as I take a look here on the pages that you created, and when I look at your HTML code, I have them open in brackets as well. I really don't see anything majorly wrong when it comes to this. Now, in your nav section, there is something wrong with the nav section, and we'll look at that in just a second. A couple of the issues I have here, we'll work with the navigation bar next week, or coming up the next task in that. But my issue is somewhat with the styling so far. I'm not a big fan of this blur right now. You want your title to really stand out, not compared to with like your slogan here. And the slogan probably should be a different color, and this should be a little bit larger. And I tend for headings like this, you don't want to use a serif font. You want to use a sans serif font. So most of the time on fonts, you're going to probably use a serif type font. Excuse me, keep that in the back of your mind. So let's take a look at your coding real quick. I believe it's in your index page. What you did here is you created two nav sections, and really you don't want to create two nav elements. You just want to go in and have one nav, and what I'll do is I'll delete this, and then you want to have also in here the link back to your home page as well. Even though you're on your home page, you want to have that link because you want to keep your navigation bar consistent on this. Okay, so then what you want to do here is then you can take these three links and you just can go to your nav section, paste it in on each of those pages so you can get that situated. Now you're going to probably do some formatting, for that purpose. Now when you do this and I save it, let me go back here and save it real quick. When I go back to my browser, you'll see that it'll go across because you created a nav. A nav element is a block element, so it's going to go vertical. So it's going to add space above and below. So what I'm doing is I'm incorporating it into the same line for that. So when we look at your style sheet, so what I probably would do here, since you're adding styles and once you get in the right track of things, you're adding a nice feature up here. I think what we need to do is look at so you're using color, the orange color, and then that's also being applied to the H2 tag. Okay, so what I probably would do here is I would go in and create another style called header, then space H1. So that way, what we're going to do is we're going to apply a style, and I'm going to take the text shadow and bring it down here. I'm going to bring the color down here as well. And font size, because you want to control the size of everything independently. Now you might have it, no, okay, I just want to make sure. So, okay, now we can leave the text align center, that's something default. Now when I do this, let's refresh the page here real quick. Now you can see that it adjusts something, and it looks like, I don't know why it didn't. Why is your font size? Huh. I'm not sure why that. But font size, I'm going to take this up for H1. I'm going to go up to, let's say 48. So it should be large, for that purpose. And what you want to do is then you're going to use a font hyphen family. Right now you can just do, like, for example, sans serif font. You'll learn more about that as you move on. You might want to incorporate a font from the web, so you can use Google fonts instead. You can also use what we call as a style font face. So those are things that you can always add extra. Now when I do this, see how it goes into it and takes away the feet, and that's a lot better. And I think the blur, what I probably would do here, it's most likely that blur, and so I'm going to kind of lessen a little bit. So I'm just changing those values right there. Let me see here. Yeah, so I think we just need to make it a little more subtle. Okay, a little more subtle. Now for the art of dog food, now what you're going to do here is, and this is called a descendant selector. So you're telling it to look at the main group header and then find the H2 tag. Okay, now we'll put in font size, and so we want to be a little bit larger, so I'm going to do 36 pixels. In this case, I think you might want to use color. I'm going to try white here. And again, what I like to do here is once I make some changes, I like refresh. So I want to see how the size is. Okay. Now in this case, I think it's still too a little large. So I'm going to just take this down to 30. And I want the font family. And once you choose the right fonts, then you will fine tune this. But I'm going to do sans serif, for that. Then I want to also probably go in. So let's just refresh that and see. Yeah, so I want to bring it closer to each other. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically control what we call as the top margin of the top spacing. And what I want to do is I'm going to put in a negative value. That's going to make it go upwards. So watch what happens here. See how it moves it up? So that's where that box model, which you'll learn in the next week or two, will come into play. Okay, so I'm thinking something like that, because like this blurriness down here is just too much for that heading, and so forth. So I'm trying to give you some extra thought process of when it comes to styling, because really you want this to stand out. I probably would, actually what I probably think to do is I would look at, let's see, yeah, like a white, something like that. You can leave the other one a little bit orange to kind of go in, but that will make it really stand out and not